Hey everyone, Ghost Hunter Dave here, giving you a blast from the past. Some happier, less uncertain times back when we mistakenly dubbed 2019 as Hellyear. How naive we were. So this video was originally recorded over a year ago, along with a handful of others that I'll be dropping over the next couple months. The world is a very different place right now. Part of me wondered if this was even the right time to drop this particular episode in light of the recent sexual abuse revelations from Hellboy editor Scott Alley. Worse yet, he was just one of many men in the comic industry that have been called out recently for predatory behavior, and it puts fans like us in a hard place. Do you swear off formative books that you love? Do you still try to enjoy them, but with the separation of the artist and his work in the back of your mind? I can't speak for anyone but myself on that, and I certainly wouldn't try to speak for a victim of abuse like this, but I can say that I love Hellboy. I love the world that Mike and his team have created, and I'm not letting a dirtbag's actions diminish what they built and what it means to me. Also, just be a decent person. Support Black lives, don't discriminate gays, report and stop sexual abuse, be conscientious of others when you're out and about, i.e. wear a fucking mask. And just try to make your actions stem from the desire to do good rather than bad. So, with all that out of the way, please allow yourself to enjoy a look back at two best friends completely unaware of the horrors the world had in store for them. Welcome back to IMPERIUS REX, my friends. Welcome back to the true Hellyear.
Hello there, Hellboy fans! Short of the Max Extreme back in action!
Back in action, indeed, Troy. And I'm Ghost Hunter Dave.
And I've totally botched him up as Imperius Rex.
And normally we start off slightly better than this, but you know.
We're gonna run with it.
Yep, that's right. So we're back again to take a look at the ongoing progression of Hellyear.
Yes.
Taking a quick break to dig into the past with Hellboy's short stories, we are returning to the long-form story arcs collected in Hellboy Omnibus of Volume 2, Strange Places.
Yes.
That's right. This collection includes some major turning points for Hellboy and the BPRD, so we decided that we should probably hold tight, get all these fun little short adventures where he's still with the BPRD out of the way before taking on like the second half of Hellboy's life and eventually wrapping up the series.
You betcha.
That's right. So first up in this collection, the Right Hand of Doom.
Yes.
Initial thoughts?
I appreciated it. I actually liked that they gave like a history lesson on Hellboy's hand.
You get a lot of Hellboy's hand in this.
Boy, do we.
It was all in on that hand.
But yeah, it was
all hands on deck.
This whole actual reading, I think, is very hand-heavy.
Oh!
Heavy-handed, if you will. Oh! I was just putting that together as I was saying it, and I was like, this is perfect!
So as you said, yes, this fills in a lot of backstory. Around that big old right hand. And in this, Hellboy's contacted by a dying priest, the son of Malcolm Frost, one of the professors present at Hellboy's first appearance, way back in Europe. He was the guy that screamed, "Kill it! It's a demon come from hell to destroy us all."
Bit of a dick.
He was a bit of a dick. Possibly misunderstood. Probably a dick. So the professor, the dick one, has spent his entire life gathering evidence against Hellboy, saying that he's going to turn full demon and bring about the end of days. So the professor's son, who's contacting Hellboy, gives him all this information, says, like, my father is kind of a nut. Sorry. Sorry about the things you're going to read in this diary. But this kind of, struck a chord, and he gives it to him, and he learns about the right hand of doom, which is just this thing prophesized to bring about the end of the world.
Yeah.
On the piece of paper is a little quick pencil sketch of the right hand itself.
This one. Scrap of parchment.
That's right. Written in Lemurian text.
Yep.
And it says something along the lines of, the right hand of doom is attached to the beast at the end of the world and is key to the bottomless pit.
Almost making just the hand more important than the boy himself.
That's right.
Yeah. But he takes, ends up ending abruptly kind of there, as many Hellboy stories does. But the scrap of paper stays with him, because he ends up keeping it until another story later where he ends up just...
out of here.
Yeah.
Done with this.
Done with this shit.
But yeah, it basically ends with both of them kind of like, well, thought I'd give you this. I don't know what to do. And Hellboy doesn't know either.
This.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that sucks for me, huh?
Yeah. Oh,
well,
thanks.
See ya.
Yeah.
If only that was a Wes Anderson movie.
So that's it. Just a quick little history lesson and a slight recap for new readers of Hellboy.
Yep.
And gives us, I think, the first real bit of power that we can expect in that right hand.
You bet.
What it's all about. Next up, Box Full of Evil. This is one that I always kind of forget how long it is.
Yeah. But I end up liking it every time.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too.
Even after I read this, I couldn't remember, like, from the title, from what actually happened in the source material, even though it is just a full-on Box of Evil. It should really put itself together for me. For whatever reason, I'm like, what is Box of Evil?
Yeah.
And then all I had to say was like...
oh, it's a box.
Yeah, when I opened it up, I'm like, oh, the goofy guy. Yep, that's him.
Sniveling little toad guy.
Yeah. Got it.
Yep, he cons this rich satanic couple into...
the Count and Countess.
Yes.
How do you become a count?
You get it passed down.
All right.
It's a bloodline thing.
Very good. Okay.
Yeah. So he releases an imprisoned demon, kind of with their help, but he turns on him. Turns a husband into a monkey. That plays a part later.
Oh boy, does it.
I forget what he does to the old woman.
The fly.
Turns into a fly?
Well, no, the fly goes into the throat and turns into a demon.
Oh, yes. Of course.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
But before all this, one of my favorite things that happened in 2 stories of this selection, Candle Hand. I love the Candle Hand.
Yes. The, what's it called?
I don't have any idea.
It has a name. Keep going. I'll find it.
But anyway, the story starts
Hand
with
of
this.
Glory.
Yes, the story starts with this gentleman calling in the BPRD because he's like, I was just reading this book, and then I was just frozen stiff with fear until 11 a.m. the next morning. And then I went and talked to my staff, and they said, same.
Candle Hand!
Candle Hand!
Yeah.
They just saw a tweedly old toad of a man come in and crack into his chimney, take out this box, and he's like, see you later. And scuttle out of there.
Yep. Yeah, with the Candle Hand.
Of course.
So yeah, they go and investigate this house owned by the Count and the Countess.
Yep.
They see this very ominous looking deer head.
Boy, do they.
Straight out of Evil Dead 2. Dripping blood. I love that thing. They show it so many times, and it just paints such a great atmosphere.
Glad you said Evil Dead 2, because the whole time I'm just waiting for it to be like... and it never does it.
No.
But I'm just like, I'm waiting for it, and that's just...
Up here it does.
It just makes the story progress so much better.
Yep.
They immediately kind of get the shit kicked into them.
That's right. One of the best panels in any Hellboy book. They see that monkey.
Yes.
And he's got a gun.
He's got a gun!
And boom, Abe goes down.
He shoots Abe. Abe is out of commission for a little bit. And then Igor casts a spell onto Hellboy.
That's right.
Rendering him motionless so he can steal the flame crown from his head.
That's right. He overpowers him by saying his true name.
Yes.
Anungrama.
Unrama.
Which might have been the first appearance of the name?
I can't remember.
Maybe? Who knows? We're not professionals
No,
here.
we're not.
You may think we are. You may get angry at us for not being. But we're not. We're just 2 guys.
It also...
just living the dream.
We also read all of the shorts that came before this,
so
and I
it's
think
really
they
hard
sprinkle them in, and I can't remember.
Really hard to place what was published first. But yes, he's able to take the crown, so Hellboy is no longer the Beast of the Apocalypse.
Right.
And now Igor is betrayed by the demonic creature himself because he's like, hey, I got the crown now.
Yep.
Fuck off. Fuck off, lizard tail.
Yeah,
and he turns him into a reptile and he scurries away.
Yep.
So now Hellboy's got this big other Hellboy to fight.
Right.
And Hellboy is in a bit of like he's in a bad place. He's in a dark spot.
Yes.
And he's met by the three people in the peanut gallery that we've seen a couple times.
By the tree.
That's right. Love that tree. King Dagda of the Fairy Kingdom. Got Edward Grey. Which we haven't known that it's Edward Grey any of this time, but it's him.
But it's Edward Grey. Yeah. Spoilers, it's Edward Grey.
I love Edward Grey in this.
Don't know much about him. Never read it.
And I think someone else. It's been a while. But they essentially, they kind of give Hellboy a pep talk.
Yeah.
And Hellboy says, like, you know, they know my name, and they say, like, but are you the Beast of the Apocalypse? And he's like, no. And they're like, then why are you answering to that name? And then he's like, that's just what I needed. And then he hops up.
He Popeyes up and clobbers him good.
Yep. Takes those horns, busts them off, sticks them in that guy.
Yep.
And that is the first time that we get that. It might be the only time in the comics, but it's in the movies. It's a pretty well-known Hellboy move.
Crack off them horns.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
so
it's
good.
a great move.
Yep. Kicks that demon out the window. A little buzzy fly pops out. Hellboy jumps out after it, catches it, and returns it to that one beardo demon who rides in on like a seahorse. He's like, you want your crown back? And Hellboy's like, fuck off. And down he goes back to the pit.
Yep.
About how approximately 40% of the Hellboy stories end.
All the meanwhile, Abe is just getting burned by that monkey.
Good lord, Abe just gets the
shit end of the stick on all of this.
The hot poker end of the stick.
He gets the business end of a gun and the business end of this hot stick for seemingly hours.
It literally does. Like, what else is a monkey gonna do down there? He's just sitting there poking Abe.
I mean, he eventually escapes, which is great. But he gets the shit burned into him for sure.
And once he reconvenes with Hellboy, he spouts Hellboy's famous line from earlier, I'm gonna be sore in the morning. Nice little callback.
Very good.
He got burned horribly.
Unless the monkey was just cauterizing his gun wounds.
Ooh, maybe the monkey had his best interests in heart.
He wasn't, but just
be happy he wasn't throwing his own poop in the gun wound. So after that long short, we move on to Being Human, which I believe is from a BPRD book. But it's kind of like a quick little one-off with Hellboy and Roger on an adventure. And this is Roger the Homunculus from Almost Colossus and Wake the Devil.
I liked in this whole reading that Roger shows up quite a bit in order to maybe squeak you into some I can't say BPRD to save my life on this episode. BPRD stuff.
That's right. Yeah, they really kind of double down on Hellboy being his mentor and Roger kind of looking up to him and feeling less than human for a lot of it.
Yep.
Which is good. It really makes you feel for Roger and really get behind Hellboy as this wraps up here.
For sure.
So this is just kind of an inconsequential story about like a woman using voodoo practices to reanimate her family because she was kind of left out of the legacy. And we also get another appearance of the Hand of Glory.
Oh boy, Candle Hand.
Which stops Hellboy in his tracks again. And then insult to injury, it doesn't stop Roger. So he's like...
he's already not feeling human, and then he's like, well, it only stops humans. I'm not stopped. Oh.
But because of that, he's able to just like... blow it out.
Well, not really. Because he's like... Hellboy's like, hey, smash that candle for me. Do I have to? And then, like, another big ghoul comes out and comes and beat the shit out of Roger until they finally just fall on the candle. And Hellboy can come up and just sock whoever is in the charge all this stuff.
Yeah. So eventually they kind of, like, they beat the witch, you know, behind this whole thing.
Which I thought was kind of like a fun story, because right away you think they're just going to put a stop and just splat that witch. But it's actually, like, the daughter of a slave owner... Or the daughter of a slave, who this owner, like, is, like, the father of. Yeah. And she's like, I'm part of your family, bitch! I'm gonna fuck you up! And, like...
Now dance! Get on the table and dance!
And they're all, like, just these skeletonly ghouls or whatever. I really like the aspect of any Hellboy story dealing with like skeletons or whatever sitting at a table.
Yes.
It's like my favorite part of any Hellboy.
Luckily, it's about 80% of them.
Big thumbs up in my book.
Yep.
I love it.
And even bigger thumbs up because this is a Richard Corbin joint.
Boy, is it.
Yep.
Is it only because it happens in America? Does Richard Corbin only do the America stories?
He did Mexico.
Central America, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Okay, very
Could
good.
be.
Gotcha on a technicality.
Yep. You always do. So then we move on to probably the meat of this book, which is Conqueror Worm.
Yes.
One of my favorite long-form Hellboy stories.
Same. Every time I read this, I think I like it more because I forget little bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And when I go back and revisit, I'm like, oh my god, this story is so good.
Mm-hmm. So it opens in World War II, where the Germans are attempting to send a corpse of a notable Nazi scientist. They call him the Nazi Einstein. The left-handed Nazi Einstein.
I got his name right here on this piece of paper, Dave. It is
inconsequential.
Ernst Oming.
Oh, that's a good name.
Yeah, it is. Ernst is a great name.
Ernst. It's like someone who just really tried to get through saying Ernest.
Got the only one vowel in there, that's it.
We don't have time! We gotta get into space! But before that can happen, they're ambushed by a squad of U.S. soldiers accompanied by none other than Lobster Johnson. Here is the claw.
Let me top you
Top
off
me
there.
off there. Oh boy. I'm gonna be
Sorry there.
topped off and tipped over. So the whole thing goes bad. The castle explodes, killing everyone inside, but the shuttle does blast off.
Yes.
And isn't seen again for 61 years. Where BPRD technicians track it, it's coming back to Earth, and they think, like, it's gotta be nothing, right?
Right.
Why would they think that?
It might be nothing. It is changing course, but it's probably nothing.
It was loaded with a corpse. What could go wrong?
Hellboy, Roger, you want to go check this shit out?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yep. So yes, they send a team, short team, small team.
Yep.
Diminutive in stature.
Are they?
No.
They are very the opposite of that, I would imagine.
They send off the Expendables.
Yes.
And they're accompanied by a beautiful blonde German girl. What could go wrong there?
Named, I have this written down, fuck.
All you write down names?
Yep. God damn it. Maybe I meant to write it down.
That sounds about right.
All of that shit.
But before Hellboy and Roger can head out, Director Manning pulls Hellboy aside and he's like, "Hey, Hellboy, your buddy Roger there, put a bomb in him." Things go...
Don't tell him.
Yeah. Things go tits up there. You just blow that baby right out.
Yeah.
You send him all to hell. He has a Texan accent now. So Hellboy, not a big fan of this.
No.
And he's like, "What? I'm not human. You gonna put a bomb in me?" And Manning's like, "Get the fuck up the mountain!" So they do.
Yep.
They go up there. They get to the top. And immediately ambushed by machine gun fire.
Right. Laura is guiding them up the mountain, like, this is where I used to sneak in as a kid. Oh shit, machine guns.
Yes. So Laura isn't who she says she is.
No.
Turns out she's not a good-natured mountain guide. She's none other than the spawn of floating head-in-the-jar Nazi scientist and ape lover enthusiast Herman von Klempt.
Yep. Named, I think her name is like Inger
von
Klempt.
So Hellboy's captured. Roger's knocked down the mountain, where he meets up with Lobster Johnson himself, still itching to inflict some straight justice.
Yes.
Get that hot claw ready.
Oh my god.
To burn some skulls. So the two of them stumble onto a basement just full of reanimated corpses, as you would.
Yep.
While Hellboy battles another cyborg gorilla, meets up with another imprisoned man who gives him a strange square-shaped ultimate weapon, and then quickly dies.
Yes.
And morphs into his true form. Been saying none other a lot, but this is no exception.
Right.
None other than one of those weird little alien guys way back in Seed of Destruction.
Yeah.
So you don't know much more what their end game is, but they're here to help, I guess.
I suppose they are.
Uh-huh. And again, we get more on them in The Visitor, how and why he stayed.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, we're left with more questions. But Hellboy is left with the ultimate weapon.
Some sort of ultimate nullifier that is just this
Square.
USB.
Yes. So before the alien guy died, he tells Hellboy that the Nazis were sending the rocket out into space to make contact with this ancient invisible being floating through time and space, waiting for the downfall of man. He tells them, if they ever had physical bodies, they're rid of them now. They have always called out to man. In the past, there were humans who could hear them, communicate with them, but these were humans with a rare sensitivity of mind. How these dull, evil men managed to do the same, I don't know, but a deal was struck.
I love it.
Yep.
I love it's like still mixing the Lovecraftian kind of lore with all this type of stuff.
Yeah. So they send a corpse into space as an empty vessel so that the creature could inhabit it and then come down to Earth in like a physical body.
God, ingenious idea. That's like my favorite part of this story.
Me too.
It's so ingenious.
And what kicks that off is my other favorite, where Hellboy finds this box full of heads.
Yes.
And that is what they've been using to communicate, because the Nazis, they're just not susceptible enough to that.
Yes.
So they like took psychics and decapitated them and like hooked them up to transmitters and put them in this box to like send out radio signals to this creature.
Is this also where they meet with like that round table of like people, like these skeletons talking into these like little
big gramophones?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
That is like the most haunting, greatest image ever.
Yes.
And I wish that would show up in something.
Oh, pure Hellboy.
It is
I can't believe like Del Toro didn't try to put that in something.
I know. It's so great Nazi occult type stuff that I'm like upset that it does never show up in anything that doesn't move.
I know. I'm literally dripping.
You're literally dripping with excitement.
Yes. Golly, let me towel off here. Clean up the floor. Clean up my pants. Clean up everything. So we learned that the alien has been... What the fuck am I doing? It's like I'm steeping this, like, tea, dripping it all over myself. God, I need a paper towel for my paper towel. So we learn the alien has been observing Hellboy for years, and that he's seen a hero in him. He mentions the flowers growing from his blood in Nature of the Beast, and he's in his corner.
Right.
He's like, I don't think you're gonna bring about the downfall of man.
Right.
They think you are. Not me.
That's
I
right.
got your back, buddy.
I got money on Vegas that you probably won't.
We also learned that the creatures in space were the same type of breed that we first met in Goodbye, Mr. Todd, that filled that guy up like a balloon.
That just couldn't find enough moisture to just creep out of Mr. Todd's orifices.
Mr. Todd was really hitting the wine train hard. He was dehydrated like a son of a bitch.
You bet he was.
So Hellboy and Roger reconvene right as the space capsule lands, and the castle,
yeah,
some might say, is
long, eh?
yes, make up for that short Ernest. The castle is filled with fog that immediately transforms everyone in the vicinity into like frog people.
Yep.
Another staple.
Too bad for them.
Yeah. Even old Von Klemph's girl. She's like, what are you doing to me?
But she got to keep her mind because she got to wear a gas mask.
Well, she's not happy with her dad. She finds out that he's just got like a mad on to end the world, bring about the frog people, and she like goes running off, and her and Hellboy both encounter some of my favorite Hellboy tropes. The ghosts of, like, the skeletal soldiers that have died in the castle.
I love that.
And they kind of help out Hellboy, and they basically give her, like, the cold shoulder and the fuck you.
Yeah, yeah. Just like you get, like, a ghastly kind of silhouette of just them, like, kind of hanging out in the back. That's, like, just the atmosphere that Mignola is able to capture.
Yes.
And all this kind of stuff.
And unfortunately, something that none of the movies really dwell on.
No.
They just keep speeding through when it's like, no, these are the best parts.
Yes.
Where it just like kind of
slows down
through.
a little bit, and just like you get the atmosphere.
Yeah. Get the sounds of the castle, like some drips, some creaks, all that.
Yeah.
A lot of shadows. Oh, God. Dripping and creaking all over the screen. Giant worm creature.
Yes.
Love it.
Yes.
Making the weirdest sound.
Yeah.
I can't quite remember what the onomatopoeia is of that thing, but it's...
unnerving.
Yes, it's very odd. So eventually they're able to defeat the worm, not with the ultimate weapon.
Nope.
That just... Hellboy throws it at him, and like a little wormy tentacle just goes like... Boink. And that thing's done with, and never again they come back to it.
Hellboy immediately is like, crap.
But with Roger's power, because he absorbed all the electricity in the building, and they realize that the worm don't like that.
Nope,
so
not at all.
He just channels it right into him, and they roast that thing like a piggy.
Yeah, not enough to kill it though, because then there's the worm is still a bit incapacitated, but it's still on the rampage a bit, and so the only thing that they can come up with is like, well, I can absorb it.
Put it in Roger.
Yeah, stuff it in Roger.
Hellboy's like, he's not even human, you know?
So Roger's like, I can do this thing. Let me do it, Hellboy. Hellboy's like, I don't know if you should.
Yeah.
Roger still does it anyway, absorbs the worm. Then Hellboy has that conundrum of like, I got this bomb.
Do I blow him up?
Do I blow this bitch up? He doesn't. Clips the cap closed. Doesn't do it. End up going to the outside as the castle's kind of getting destroyed. Lobster Johnson shows back up, shoves a rod in Roger's chest as a lightning storm happens to happen. Yep. That's right. And then strikes Roger down, killing the worm inside of him because it was like...
roasted up.
Yeah, he was like almost being overcome with like all this Lovecraftian gobbledygook.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. So everything's good. Roger's still kicking.
Yep.
They defeated the monsters.
Yep.
They look to their left and they see the skeletal remains of old Lobster there.
Yep.
So
he got boned.
I was gonna say, oh yes, as they do. So he's been dead this whole time since the castle. He's just been his ghost. Because that's what it is. But when I saw it, I was like, did he get shocked to death when he put that pole in him? Because he's holding it when he gets struck.
Yeah.
Could be both.
I like to think that it was like the ghastly visage.
Yes,
it
like absolutely was.
Yeah. But I that's like one thing that I love in this, that it's in just Hellboy in general. Yeah. And it's like, I'm just going to show up for a little bit, and then I'm going to turn back into a skeleton.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
And
So
let's
good.
lay my lazy bones in this place, and I'll be for it into eternity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So after that, the BPRD shows up. Hellboy, being a bit sore about the whole ball of wax there with Roger, he hangs up his badge.
Yeah.
He says, like, how long before they put a bomb in me?
Yeah.
And he says goodbye to Kate and then heads off on his own, planning to visit Africa again, something that he has fond memories of from his youth.
And then he just goes off into another adventure.
Yep. Yeah.
After he quits the BPRD.
Yeah, he's going to go wherever the wind takes him.
Yep.
And that's it. And then we get one last epilogue here with Rasputin. Rasputin's back, arguing with Hecate, or Hecate, however you want to say it, we're all God's children, over his constant failures.
Actually, I looked up the pronunciation of this because it was bothering me during this reading, and I think I'm going to land on Hecate.
That's what I said.
You said Hecate, and I think I want to say Hecate. Like Tecate, the beer.
I think it's open to interpretation on both. I think both are right.
All right.
All right.
I see where this is going.
So Hecate is not terribly happy with Rasputin's performance. She says only Hellboy can release a dragon. Not that dog going nuts up there. Not your nuclear warheads. Only Hellboy can bring about the end. And Rasputin is like, God damn it, I can do it too. Me too.
I'm a big boy.
Yes.
I can do it.
Yep. And Hecate says, poor Rasputin. And then she obliterates him.
Yeah.
Just blows him to pieces. Just like Mr. Todd.
Does he put a little chunk of him in a little acorn?
Yes, Baba Yaga
Yeah.
takes one last little scrap of him,
Yep.
puts it in her acorn necklace, and then just leaves him there
Yep.
between those big swinging tits. And that's where he ends up.
Perfect ending to Rasputin, I guess.
Yep. Yes. Yep. So that's that for the first half of this book. These omnibuses, we've been kind of cutting into 2 episodes.
Yeah.
It's pretty long.
Yeah.
And we're pretty drunk.
Yes.
So we're a bit talky.
Yes.
So stay tuned where we jump into Hellboy's next adventure in Africa. Not really. Strange places. Take some strange places.
You bet. All in all, though, Conqueror Worm, one of my favorite Hellboy stories.
Yeah.
Going back in and revisiting.
I feel strange because every time I reread everything, I feel like everyone is one of my favorite, but this one always hits high marks.
Yeah, and it really does like a lot of progression for Hellboy as a character as well.
Yeah. Yep. So fun.
Yep, exactly. So join us for part 2 coming up very soon. We talk more about this part. We talk more about Omnibus Volume 2, and we'll go into some strange places.
Ooh,
Until next time.
Imperius Rex, 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 Imperius Rex.
So, is it Igor? Is that the creep? Is that his name?
I think I have it written down. Let me see here.
Blubski.
Oh, nope, turns out, didn't write it down.
Alright. Bromhead. Igor Bromhead.
Yes.
Old snivelly toad butt. So, he gets conned by the demon itself, turned into a lizard guy. I don't know if we see him again. Yeah, we do. We see him again.
All right.
But he snivels his way out of there. And the fly, the demon creature, turns into this full-on big demonic beast and just starts beating Hellboy to a pulp.
You bet.